Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sorry I Like This podcast. My name is Ezra, and I'm joined, as always, by Caleb. Caleb, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. All right, so we've got kind of a different show for you today. It's going to be kind of light on, um, we're not going to be going through like topic after topic. We're not going to be speeding through stuff today. We're going to be just we've got like four things basically we're talking about. We've got the Microsoft Xbox showcase at Summer Game Fest. We got the Nintendo Direct that just happened this week that blew everybody's faces off. Uh, we've got our God of War conversation, and Caleb has a mystery game uh, that I am going to be trying to guess throughout the show. And then at the end, it will finally be revealed. So, um, yeah. So, Caleb, do you have a clue for me?
Yeah. All right. So, I am very excited to talk about this today. Um, and it's been a journey. Let's just put it that way. Um,
Okay.
and I guess my clue is it is a game from 2022.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
That eliminates a few of my guesses, actually. Um, it's a game from 2022.
So this will be your first guess.
Yes, this will be my first guess. I will have three guesses.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we'll do one after Microsoft, one after Nintendo, and then one after God of War. Um, hmm. Okay. So don't tell me if I got it right.
Okay.
We'll save it for we'll save it for after that. I'm. Is it okay if I look up a list of games from
Yep.
2022
Yep.
that came out? Man, 2022 was kind of a banger
It was a
year.
great year. Yeah, it was a great year.
It's crazy because like 2023 was just such a like astronomically impressive year that like
Yep.
2022 got kind of overshadowed, but like it had
For,
a pretty
it,
good lineup.
for for me, I got like fed really well in 2022 and 23.
Yeah,
Like it was a really long span of time for me that
yeah, it's true.
I was getting some good meals during that time.
Hmm. Okay. No. I guess here's a question. Have you even heard of Anno Mutation M?
No.
Okay. I was gonna say like maybe, but no. Okay, my first hmm. I'm not even in May yet. Okay. And like you rolled credits on this game.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's done.
Okay.
Just finished it over the weekend. So about a month.
Okay. Took you a month to play. Okay, I'm gonna keep ruminating. I have a guess. I'm gonna keep ruminating on it. I'm gonna keep ruminating on other games, but my first guess is gonna be Elden Ring.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm looking at some of these other ones, and I'm like maybe, but that's my first. That's like the one I'm most confident about. I'll say.
I'm trying to stay neutral about this. So
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Um.
I don't want to lead you anyway into thinking if it is or isn't.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll see. There, yeah, it's kind of interesting because like I'm trying to think of like what games, like what in your backlog you would tackle first. Um, but yeah, it's like so it's like I know you've wanted to get to Elden Ring. I know you've wanted to get to like I could see you wanting to get to. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. Um, yeah. All right. So let's start with the Xbox Game Showcase. They had a great show. A plus. I remember sitting down to watch it and being like, I'm not expecting too much. We'll see it. I was like, I'm interested if like they'll finally show Perfect Dark. We'll see if like that was the main one for me. I was like, it's been so long since Perfect Dark got announced. We need to see it at some point. But then like the show got going, and it just like kept going.
Yeah.
Um, like I remember when what was it? I remember when they started playing that Indiana Jones gameplay. I was like, this is a weird note to end on, but like it's still a good show. And then it kept going.
And then it kept going for almost another half hour.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Yeah. So, we'll talk about each of these as they kind of come up. I'm gonna go kind of in reverse order. Go ahead.
Can you send me the list?
Yeah.
That I can, just
so you can visualize it. Yeah. I'm putting it in the Discord chat.
Perfect.
So I'm gonna go in reverse order. They have like a graphic at the top of their Xbox's website. They have a graphic for it. I'm just gonna go in reverse order from the bottom, just because like it's not like the best way to do it, but it's the way that's gonna be easiest, I think. So they had a trailer for Mecha Break. Mecha Break looks good. It's a Gundam style PvP game, I guess. But it looks good. I've got nothing else to say about it really.
Well, wasn't that? Oh, hold on. Where are you at?
I'm at the top of the list. They have like a graphic that's like everything they showed at the Xbox Game Showcase. It's like a little bit.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. You're not going from the actual article itself. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
That's where I got confused. Okay. Yeah, I mean, didn't they show Mecha Break at Summer Games Fest?
Yeah.
Like the exact same trailer?
I don't know if it was the same trailer, but yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, that game.
I mean, I literally, once it started, I was like, oh, this looks like the exact same thing, same trailer. This
I'm
is
gonna
my
tune
time to
out.
get caught up on everybody's reactions to the showcase so far.
Yeah.
That was
Um.
honestly, out of this whole entire list, I think that was like, aside from one other one where I was like, oh yeah, we finally got one that was a dud.
Yeah.
I don't mean it in a bad way. It's just
We've already
uh,
seen it.
to me, Mecha Break was really weird in the showcase, but
Well, it was like
who knows?
what was weird about it was like uh we already got it at Summer Game
Mm-hmm.
Fest. So like why was it
Literally
like
2 days
why
before.
like I it was weird to have it like it's one thing to like debut something and then have it show
Mm-hmm.
up later. It's another thing to have something show up that's already a known thing. Like Mecha Break's something we've known about for like 6 months at least.
Mm-hmm.
I think they showed it at the Game Awards. I could be wrong. Um, but yeah, I just think like yeah, it's definitely weird to like have a trailer for a game that's not like it's not like a legacy title, right? It's not like a it's not a Halo, it's not a I mean Kingdom Hearts, it's not, something like
Right.
that. But yeah, it game looks good. Am I going to play it? No, those games don't really appeal to me, but that's okay. Next up on the list is Fragpunk, which is that 5v5 hero shooter. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, that's kind of all you need to know about it.
Yeah.
Not super interesting. Could be good. I've heard it like looks like it plays pretty well, so who knows. Uh, Next up is Winterboro, which, if I'm remembering correctly, is that game about the little like mouse
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
that like builds a home. It's like an indie game.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
an indie story game, pretty
so
much.
it looked
Look,
cute.
yeah.
Um,
I like the style of it.
yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Um, so I need to look this next one up. Flintlock. The Siege of Dawn. This is a oh yeah, it's that like Souls like action game uh with the lady and she's got an axe and um it's got some I'm gonna say like it's got some kind of like Lies of P energy. Um
Gotcha.
but and like I say that Lies of P is a really really good video game, so this could also be really good. It's got a demo. I didn't know that. Oh, it's coming out in
Yeah,
July,
yeah. It's coming out in July.
so don't have to wait too long for that. Atom Fall. I also need to look this one up.
This one was an interesting one because they built it up like it was going to be like uh, a big new title, but
Oh yeah,
it's I mean it looked okay. Like I thought this one was like I didn't think they showed enough of this one to be like
sure, yeah,
to really have much of an opinion on it. Um,
yeah.
I was very much like close to Fallout
Yeah.
with zombies.
It's got zombies and it's got like yeah, it's like a nuclear. Oh, it's from the
Oh,
Sniper
it doesn't
Elite
have
guys.
does it have zombies? I thought it had zombies.
It says British countryside setting filled with bizarre characters, mysticism, cults, and rogue government agencies. So
Oh, okay.
zombies could be in
So
there.
it's Fallout.
Yeah, yeah, it's basically Fallout. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it looks all right. Um, yeah, nothing too special there. Not gonna focus too hard on it. Sea of Thieves is getting an update. This one unfortunately did not have Jack Sparrow, so I did not care about it.
Fair enough.
We got a Life is Strange game, a new Life is Strange. If I'm correct, it's featuring the original protagonist of the Life is Strange games, like the first.
I
Life
believe
is
it is.
Strange.
Yeah.
Which
That's
is
what I heard.
which is cool that they're like returning to that character, because I know they've like they've like experimented a lot with Life is Strange. So
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting when that trailer popped up because, like, I was kind of like, man, if this is the only thing we get from Square Enix this summer, I'm going to be upset.
sure.
And you know, it's nothing against the franchise. It's just more of like, oh man.
Yeah. It's just like, man, it is part of the problem of riding such a high after Seven Rebirth.
Exactly.
Like everything besides something earth shattering is disappointing.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I definitely feel that. When you skip over this one too, Fallout 76 also getting an update. Got the Skyline Valley, whatever that means.
Yeah.
We finally got some gameplay for Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater.
It looks good.
It looks good. It sort of unfortunately looks good, right? Like, like hearing like David Hayter as Snake in that like updated graphics, but still kind of retaining the Metal Gear style. Just like, yeah, it's just like, man, if only Kojima was involved, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
But
I would agree with that.
yeah, I'm super interested to hear like how this game ends up landing, right? Like, does it manage to kind of find its way, or does it, does it kind of fall off? Like, who knows? But yeah, it sort of looks.
Fair
unfortunately, enough. It looks kind of good.
Yep.
So I don't know if they showed too much of this, but we got a new Elder Scrolls Online expansion.
Yeah, they practically just announced this one and then moved on. But it was like, this made me so mad. Like, I understand we got to do it. Like, I understand, it's a popular MMO, just like Fallout 76 is. But you know what the difference between Fallout 76 and then Elder Scrolls Online is to me? I actually like Elder Scrolls.
That's fair.
I, one of these days, ES6 is coming back.
Yeah.
But it's not this year.
Not this year. Not
Another
next year. Not next year. It's not happening next year. I can tell you that much.
It's been 6 years since announcement.
It's been 1 year since Starfield came out. Less than 1 year since Starfield came out.
Bethesda's got new leadership. Let's put it that way.
I just don't. You get disappointed with Kingdom Hearts so much. I don't want you to do the same thing to yourself with ES6. That's all that I'm trying to save you from here.
Fair enough. You're right. You're right. Now, granted, 2 years ago, I was more sure than I was now. Let's just put it that way. I was like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And it hasn't happened. So, but you never know. This seems to be the year of games that have been in the quiet for too long.
That's true.
But more on that later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Next game on the list, another Souls-like Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. Um, it's sort
This
of
one
a
I can't really remember.
it's like it's set in China. It's set uh or I don't know if it's set in the land of Shu during the dark and tumultuous late Ming dynasty. So I
Gotcha.
don't know history. I don't know if any of that is like real, but if it is, that's when it's taking place. Um, so yeah, it looks like it's got. I'll say it. It's also got some Lies of P energy. I know games don't take a year to make. I know that like these games have been in development for years and years, but still got that like following in the footsteps um,
Hmm.
kind of feeling. Um, State of Decay 3, pretty cinematic trailer. Hard to get a feel for it. Um,
It's interesting because I guess this got like it got leaked or revealed like the day prior
yeah,
to the showcase, but I didn't know about it. So I was like, I mean, they placed that trailer in the right point in the showcase. Like it was like the third trailer, and it was just like I think that was the point in which I was like, oh, we're in for a big showcase. Like like just
yeah,
because we had three hitting titles right in the beginning. So for me, it was more of a cool statement
yeah,
rather than the actual trailer itself. I mean, like you said, cinematic, no gameplay. That those type of trailers have gone way downhill of late. Like I know like there's good cinematic trailers. There's some
yeah.
things that I've always remembered, but I don't know. It's like people. I feel like people are seeing through it more these
Oh
days,
yeah, for sure.
and
I agree.
I think State of Decay got a little bit of that um,
Yeah.
same
Well, and
pushback.
State of Decay is a very like um how do you put this? Like it's got a very like niche set of ideas
Hmm.
and those don't come through in a cinematic trailer. So like
Right.
yeah, it's hard to say. I won't fault them necessarily, but it is like okay, cool that that's happening. Let's move on. Speaking of moving on, uh, Starfield Shattered Space is happening. It's a DLC. Uh, this is also something that will delay Elder Scrolls 6. Um,
Microsoft Space Simulator is not going to delay ES6 at all. It's not going to happen.
Dang,
Sorry.
that's harsh. They did also show Microsoft Flight Simulator. I don't know if that's anywhere on this graphic, but
It is.
they did have like a trailer for that. Um,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry, I had to say it. I know I know that really like shattered everything, but yeah, I'm not much of a fan of Starfield.
No, that's fair. This game looked pretty cool. It South of Midnight is that one that looks
Yeah.
like Spider Verse. Um,
Yep.
yeah, not much else to say about it because like the demo was a little like they cut it kind of weird because
Mhm.
they showed like a long cut scene and then they showed a little bit of traversal and like the tiniest
Mhm.
bit of combat and then they cut
Yeah.
back to more of a long cut scene and it was like okay, you seem to have some stuff to show us, but you're not showing it to us.
Yeah.
Um, But all that said, looks really cool. Glad to see Microsoft still kind of keeping with this, like, okay, we're going to have those stylized games that are not, they're not too big, not too small. It's a shame that we'll never get a Hi-Fi Rush 2, but still, like, yeah, I just think this game looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
We'll see if it actually pans out, but got no reason to think otherwise. This game was really cool looking. This was Claire Obscura Expedition 33, starring Ben Starr, voice of Clive Rosfield in Final Fantasy 16, and also like a big budget AAA looking turn-based RPG from Xbox of all studios. I was like, this is really cool. Like, I was genuinely like, wow, I was not expecting to see something like this at the show and for it to look this cool and this good.
I was completely wowed by this trailer. Yeah. Like, this was the standout. Out of the whole entire showcase, this was the standout for me. Like,
same.
I loved every minute of it. I loved the combat style of it. Like, I was just like, I was hooked. Like, I was very bummed it's an Xbox, like, as of right now, an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah.
Because I would definitely play that game. That game was, yeah, I mean, that looks so fun, and I gotta give Microsoft credit. That one was, like, there's a lot of games on this list that are really good, but some of them are like going to be on other consoles and all that stuff. But as an Xbox exclusive, that was not like a previous franchise of anything.
Yeah.
This to me was a huge standout.
Definitely.
And honestly, has been
highly agree.
And it's been a while, at least for me, to have a game pop up in a showcase that's a non-existing IP that I've been like, oh, that looks really fun. I need to play that.
Yeah.
I think probably the last time that happened was probably Stellar Blade, like initially when it first got announced. So it's been a while.
It has, man.
I can't really think of any other kind of example, but yeah, this was huge for me.
Yeah, Expedition 33 looks great. Can't wait to see more of it, at least. Next up on the list was Perfect Dark. I think we got some mixed reactions about this one. To be honest, I'm not like a Perfect Dark fan. I've just been kind of pushing for this game because I'm like, we got to see something. I'm mostly just like, man, I want to see them do this. But yeah, mixed reactions. It looks a little like, how do I put this? Like, looks a little modern, I guess, where like people would want like more futurism.
Yeah.
But it looks good. I'm not gonna complain too much about it. I've got nothing to complain about. But yeah, not much else to say about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty much echo a lot of your same thoughts on that. Like, yeah. I guess I don't really have much.
It's Perfect Dark.
Yep.
next up on the list is Mixtape. This was that game with the soundtrack and the like fun summer memories and the I
Yeah.
don't know. It looked kind of generic. I gotta be honest.
Well, it's like, you get these like big movie studios, and then they announce that they're gonna make, they're gonna branch out and expand into gaming, and you know you I think I naively think that they're gonna bring the same quality
Sure.
to their gaming, and it's just like, and sure, maybe some of these games that they like A24 makes like are like probably really great stories, but they're not really great games.
This is
I guess that would be my kind of feelings toward, like, I've felt towards them. I think this is A24 if I'm not mistaken.
I mean,
It is
Annapurna
from a movie
Interactive
studio.
is publishing it.
Who is it? Would you say?
Annapurna?
Annapurna, not A24.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
They're not I don't think they're a movie studio.
I thought they were.
Oh. I don't know. They publish some bangers. They publish
They
Stray,
do.
Neon White.
Yeah.
I know people like the Pathless.
It's a television company, video game publisher.
What Remains of Edith Finch. That's a classic.
Yeah, it is film. I thought so.
Oh, okay. Huh. Oh, they published Journey. That's a
Oh, okay.
that's a heavy hitter. um,
Well, all I know is I know Annapurna was the studio to really like allow indie studios
yeah.
to go into gaming. So
Yeah.
that I do know. But yeah,
But yeah, we'll see.
it does look
Mixtape
good.
looks a little generic, but maybe it'll be really good. Um, Next up on the list is Fable. Correct me if I'm wrong. Neither of us are really Fable heads, so it's kind of hard
I've never played
to.
it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to judge, right? Like it's kind of hard to look
Hmm.
at that trailer and say like that looks like what Fable needs to be, or that looks like a
Yeah.
really good Fable game. I have no idea.
Yeah.
It looks quality. Like I'm not gonna say it looks bad. It's hard to, not having played a Fable game before. It's hard to look at that trailer and be like, that's what I want to see, right?
Yeah.
And then also like, there's nothing in the trailer that is really grabbing me, I guess. Like, yeah, it's just like, it looks good, but I don't have a reason to play it because I'm not a Fable fan.
Right.
And there was nothing in it that made me want to play it. So we'll have to just wait and see, I guess. Like they have Richard Iotti, who's just like he's a great British comedian, but like all sorts of games have incredible talent. Like Keanu Reeves was in Cyberpunk 2077. Like that's not enough. Not for me, at least. Maybe for some people it is. But yeah. Any other thoughts on Fable?
It looks fun. I mean, it looks like generic, not generic. It does look like a typical like fantasy type
Yeah.
game. It's up my alley. Just never played it.
Yeah.
I never grew up with an Xbox, so like something like that, I don't even think I would have, like, I didn't even know of its existence until it got announced.
Yeah. No,
like
I
years
get
ago.
you. I get you. Um, Next up on the list, Age of Mythology Retold. I believe this is a franchise. Age of Mythology
Yeah,
Retold. So this was the uh
yeah, I think I remember this one. It was like a top down, wasn't it?
yeah, it's like a top down. It looks like one of those like society builders kind
Mm.
of sort of a, but yeah, like you call upon the gods and looks like it's all of the pantheons. Oh, here we go. Choose your gods from the Greek, Norse, Egyptian, and Atlantean pantheons. Okay. Uh, and then, yeah, you can. It's got multiplayer. It looks cool. Not my vibe. Not my kind of game. But that's okay. And if people like it. Oh, and it's from the Age of Empires developers. That's the.
Gotcha.
That's, you know. Stalker 2 continues to look pretty good. Not much else to say about it for me.
Hmm.
Um, it's the Ukrainian developed
Yeah.
game, which is super cool. So like, I don't want to take away from that.
Right.
Like the fact that they are able to make that happen at all is crazy. So like,
Hmm.
props to them. I hope the game is super successful, whatever metric that takes. But like, yeah, it's just like it's a first person survival game. Like a trailer is not going to tell us whether or not it is a good first person
Yeah.
survival game, right? Um, so correct me if I'm wrong, Caleb, but this would have been the first time you would have seen Assassin's Creed Shadows gameplay. Is that correct?
Uh, yes. Yeah, because it was just
So
a cinematic trailer.
yeah. So what'd you think?
I loved it. I loved it. It was great. I know it was focused on the female protagonist. That's more of a traditional assassin from the Assassin's Creed franchise. So obviously, this was much more the appeal to me in that regard of
Yeah.
like, I love stealth combat. I love all that stuff. Like that seemed the the parkour elements that was going on. I was like, yes, yes, that was what I was looking for. I haven't seen it. Jeez. I know Mirage had those elements too, but like I, I think it's been a long time coming for an Assassin's Creed game to be set in Japan.
Yeah.
So this mixed with like another era I've always kind of wanted to see, and this was kind of everything I pictured it would be. So I'm hopelessly optimistic. Like
Yeah.
I depending on the lineup for me during that time of like depending if I'm not like in the middle of a game or like there's nothing else coming out in that time for me, it might be a day one. It might be a day one.
Hey,
It might be.
that's high
The
praise.
problem is the problem is it's I would feel like I'm cheating myself if I don't play the previous ones to get caught back up. That's where it gets tricky. Because I don't want to spend 30 hours on each game just just to get caught up for this one.
Yeah.
Because some of them did not seem that appealing to me. But yeah, I was waiting on gameplay, and they delivered. Now I'm waiting to see the other side of gameplay with the samurai
Yasuke.
antagonist, and then I might be sold. We'll see. But I was really happy to see this in the showcase.
All right. High praise. Next up was Dragon Age the Veilguard, renamed from Dragon Age Dreadwolf. I think both of us are also not Dragon Age fans, so it's hard to speak to it too much.
I tried. I couldn't get into it.
Oh, okay.
With Inquisition, the last one.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but I got lost.
Oh, yeah.
And I just stopped after that. I was just like, I'm good.
No, I getcha.
So I might not have given it enough of a chance, but at the same time, it's really weird because this trailer was a really weird trailer where I didn't recognize it was Dragon Age until the end.
Well, and yeah, I was like, hold on, is this Dragon Age? And I had to like keep thinking that. Like I was like, are we sure this is Dragon Age? Mm-hmm. And it ended up being Dragon Age now. I was like, huh. Looks super like generic in a way I was not expecting. And I think a lot of people share that opinion, especially Dragon Age fans. So, I hear, it got some gameplay the following day, I think. I hear some good things about that, but we'll have to wait and see. Because Dragon Age is typically seen as like more of like a dark fantasy kind of thing. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, do you have anything else you want to say about that?
Nope.
Okay. So speaking of things we don't have anything to say about, World of Warcraft is getting a new expansion. Neither of us play WoW. Did you ever play WoW?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've never played WoW either.
A chance, but MMOs are weird for me because it's like I'd hate just jumping in the middle.
Yeah.
That's my big thing. You gotta grab me from the start.
Yeah.
But even then.
No, I gotcha. Like, they could release a Kingdom Hearts MMO, and I would be a little bit like, am I going to play this? Like, I would definitely, like, have to consider it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel that way. Like we said, they showed off Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. It's got what was it? It's got missions now, right? Like you can like transport people to hospitals and stuff like that. Like that's fun, I guess. Like I don't know. I continue to see Microsoft Flight Simulator as just a tech demo.
Yeah. I agree.
Like, it would be kind of cool to like go to my house in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I think that's about it. But yeah, Diablo 4 DLC, pretty cool. Game's had kind of a rough life so far, so. Yeah, and then now we're getting into like these were the big boys. We had Avowed, which is the new Obsidian game. Not too much to say about it. We still didn't get a release date, so
Yeah.
we'll see. Apparently, it got leaked. I don't remember when the release date is, but yeah, we'll see. We got a Doom prequel game, Doom: The Dark Ages. id Software firing on all cylinders as always. No Mick Gordon, but that is a story for another time. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Doom fan, but even I can admit, like, yeah, Doom is kind of like one of the best franchises still currently running, right? Like, it's,
Right.
of
Well,
all of the franchises, right? Like, Doom has consistently put out quality after quality after quality, right?
right. And that's the thing about the showcase. Like a lot of these titles, yeah, we might not be so big on, but like they're big titles. They're
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
Like when Doom was another one of where I was like, "Oh my god, this showcase is going to be like insanely good." Like,
Yeah.
it's just like it's cool to see like it's cool to see a showcase that's dedicated to just showing like
Yeah.
we have a lot to show off to you today. Like it was
Yep.
just like that type of thing where
Hard agree.
I mean, Doom looks good. It looks great. It's not something I am appealed to. But you know, it looks great. If I was
Yeah.
a Doom fan, it looks like everything I would have wanted.
Yep. Doom guy with a cape.
Yep.
He looks sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's yeah. I mean, speaking of big games, Gears of War E-Day, right? Like that's a
Mm-hmm. Huge.
massive deal, right? Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I've never played a Gears of War game, but like knowing that they're like going back uh
Mm-hmm.
and doing Gears of War and doing like the original cast of characters and stuff is like that is awesome, and that is like huge news. Yeah, but like you said, doesn't really appeal to me, but that's okay, right? Like it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have
Right.
to. We got we got our Expedition 33, right? Like, and that was good enough for me to be like, I could walk away from
Exactly.
the show happy just because I saw
Mm-hmm.
something that looked really cool, right?
Yep.
So yeah. And then, these were the last two, I would say, that are kind of on this list are Indiana Jones and Call of Duty Black Ops 6, both of which are kind of known quantities.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb, you're kind of an indie fan, and you're kind of a
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty fan. What, run me through, like, what are you thinking about these two games?
Well, first I'm going to start off with Indiana Jones because,
Yeah.
I'm fresh off. I just, funny enough, I rewatched The Last Crusade last night. So
Oh.
Indiana Jones is on the brain right now. But I will say, um, this is a big gripe with me that of what I've been seeing. Now that we got like a taste of like an actual scene, like not just like a trailer full of cinematics, but like an actual scene from the game itself that had to deal with like some action involved with it. It looks incredibly slow. Like and I guess that's maybe like the problem of having it in a video game space. Like
Yeah.
movement seems slow. And I'm not talking about like combat as in like actual gameplay. I'm talking about combat in a cinematic sense. You know, like one thing that the Indiana Jones movies do great about is it's like hand to hand, like full on like beat 'em up type action, right?
Yeah.
And with every punch thrown in those movies, you can like there's a there's an emphasis with it. It everything packs quite a steep punch, you know. And I don't know, I felt like this looks like a weird knockoff of Indiana Jones. Like it just was weird. It was like almost uncanny weird to me. Like I will say like the acting and the motion capture besides that looks great. You know, I thought that was good. I think they done a really good job of showcasing a young Indiana Jones with it's the solo effect a little bit. Like it is a
Yeah.
hard job to do anything that isn't Harrison Ford.
Yep.
It's hard. It's not an easy task. I do think they're succeeding with it. You know, I think this
Hmm.
is they've done a really great job about it. Um but yeah, I mean, you look at Uncharted and Uncharted doesn't seem to have that problem. Tomb Raider doesn't seem to have that problem of like the
Yeah.
action sequences being like not up to par with like I guess I don't know much about the gameplay as far as Indiana Jones goes, but as far as the action in the cinematics, it's not looking good. I mean, I look at the Uncharted games and the modern Tomb Raider games, and they're both like they go all in on the cinematic quality, right?
Yeah.
So it's just it's weird. Indiana Jones is a really weird game for me, and it makes me so sad to say it because it's like I feel like this would be a great gaming franchise, but it can never catch a break. It can never catch a break.
Yeah.
And yeah, who knows?
I get you.
I'd like to see more gameplay. They're not really showing any gameplay, which is even making me even more concerned since we're only a few
Hmm.
more months out from release. That
Yeah.
would be my concern with Indiana Jones. But enough on the tangent on Indiana Jones. Did you have any uh,
No, I would
other thoughts
echo a
on
lot
it?
of I would echo a lot of what you're saying. I think it's just super hard to justify the existence of a AAA Indiana Jones game when we already have Uncharted and Tomb Raider, right? Like
Yeah,
those are
exactly.
already following in the footsteps of Indiana Jones. This feels like if Pac-Man tried to be a uh yeah, this feels like if Pac-Man tried to make uh Pac-Man again, right? Like if like uh something that's kind of already outdated
Yeah,
like tried to do what its successors had already done. So like
yeah.
yeah, it's weird. I agree. I 100% agree with what you're saying.
And then, I mean, as far as Call of Duty goes, like the Black Ops franchise, this is like
Yeah.
similar to Assassin's Creed for me. Like, They lost me after 3. I enjoyed 3. It was fun. Um, it wasn't my favorite Black Ops. My favorite Black Ops was Black Ops 2. That will be like, as far as all-time favorite Call of Duty game, that is probably my favorite all-time Call of Duty game.
Hmm.
Just all around. It's not my favorite like story, Call of Duty story, but it's my favorite Call of Duty game. Like everything about it just went so right with its multiplayer, with its zombies, with its story. It's just a perfect game. So it really peaked at that time, and then 3 was good. I fell off once 4 came out when they called it Black Ops 4, but it was really just a Fortnite map and there was no story. There was literally no story. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm like, this is not Black Ops 4. It's not. And then Black Ops Cold War was a rushed production that when it initially launched, I know it didn't get the greatest reviews as far as performance wise, and I watched gameplay of it, was not a fan of the way they had made it as far as the multiplayer style. And then this is during the age of Call of Duty monopolizing your storage space.
Yeah.
So you know Black Ops 6 looks cool. I don't know why it's called Black Ops 6, because this is before 2, but after 1, after Cold War,
Mm-hmm.
which now I guess Cold War is considered Black Ops 5. So it's literally like they don't care about when they're labeling the titles. It's no longer like about chronological order with it. So literally it's 1 1 5 1 5 6 4 2 3.
Oh, okay. That's weird.
It's all over the place. Yeah, it is really weird. And
That's like as weird as the Street Fighter chronological order.
yeah. And like there's questions on whether or not with Black Ops 6 how heavy they're going to go into 2. The story of 2, like is it
Yeah.
even canon? Which is like oh my god. It's a whole other story. But like the point is, Black Ops 6, I don't know. To me, I'm concerned. We'll see how it
Sure.
actually launches. But I mean, Call of Duty almost had me back in with Modern Warfare 2, and then Modern Warfare 3 came out, and I'm back in the train of I really don't care about Call of Duty anymore.
Yeah.
So, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. 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 Not much I can say about COD just because I've been, let's say, cynical about it for a very long time. So I've got, you know, if you've got nothing nice to say, let's not say it.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
So that was the Xbox show. A+, 10 out of 10.
Absolutely.
Like even if everything wasn't for me, and absolutely like I would say 90% of what they showed, I am not gonna play. Right? That 10%, like, but even though it's only 10%, you have to acknowledge like this was a banger of a showcase.
Absolutely. I mean, it had its small moments, but even then, it was like really well, it, really well placed
Yeah.
throughout the show. Right? It was like almost like, okay, this is like a moment to like relax the brain for a second, and
Yeah.
then like get the hype back up. Like it was a wonderful pacing of a show. I'd give this 11 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like it was a great show.
Yeah, genuinely impressive. No notes. This is how all of them should be.
Exactly.
Uh, like, like Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, and Sarah Bond all came out, but like they were only on the screen for like a short amount of time, and like that's how it should be. They should just show you the games.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, all right. Time for. Well, did you have anything else you wanted to say about
Nope.
the Xbox
Nope,
show?
I'm all good.
Okay. Time for the next guess of what Caleb could possibly have played. No. I'm going to guess Sonic Frontiers next.
Okay.
All right. So I will get one more guess after the Nintendo Direct, and then we will wait until after we've talked about God of War to to reveal what the game was. So, yeah, switching gears to the Nintendo Direct. I'm going to be just scrubbing through the video.
That's fine. It's pretty fresh in my brain.
Yeah.
So
I actually didn't watch it. Like, I haven't watched the Direct through. I've just soaked up all of the information because I was busy while it was happening. So then I like came home and I already had like most of it spoiled for me. So I was like, well, do I really want to sit through the filler?
Well, I got lucky. I mean, I too had to I had to work all day. So
yeah.
The fortunate and unfortunate part about it is that I didn't even have time to even look at my phone. So
Sure, yeah.
I got pretty lucky in the fact that I pretty much just came home, turned it right on. Like I pulled it up on my TV. Like it wasn't my YouTube recommended, but nothing else was popping up at the time to show like, which I was surprised about considering that it was, the showcase started at 10 a.m. and it was around 7. So
yeah, if nothing else, you would think you're getting like reactions or something, right?
Exactly.
Like,
at that point, yeah. So I mean, I was pretty happy with just. It felt like I just started the Direct from that point.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was pretty good Direct.
Yeah.
Go ahead with your...
it was a pretty good Direct. So they opened the show with Mario and Luigi Brothership, which is really cool. Another in the Mario and Luigi RPG franchise. Not too much to say about it. It looks good. I like the sort of 2.5D aesthetic that they've got going on. I was watching the trailer and I was like, oh wow, this looks like it's in 2D from certain angles, but then like they turn and it's 3D. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you wanted to say?
Nothing much other than I really like the style. I'm not really sold on the turn-based combat, but
yeah,
it. Who knows? I still have to play Super Mario RPG. That's been on my list of stuff to play.
Yeah.
So like, to me, I'm like reminded of it, and I'm like, Oh, but I'd rather play Super Mario RPG right now.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
that's fair.
Maybe who knows?
Yeah,
We'll see. And I think it comes out in October or maybe November. I can't
yeah.
remember, but it comes
Um,
out this holiday.
it comes out in watching the direct. Oh, oh, they don't say. It's coming out sometime this year though.
Yeah, it's coming out this year. I know that. I just can't remember.
Yeah. Okay, next up they have the Nintendo World Championships NES edition. Not too much to say about it. It's like
Mm,
it's sort of following that tradition of like it's kind of like Pac-Man 99, I guess is kind of
yeah.
how you might say it. Um yeah. Uh then they had Fairy Tale 2, which is the sequel to Fairy Tale the video game. um uh yeah, I guess I will say like what's kind of cool is like in the past and still kind of today it still happens, but like in the past it was very common to just get like a generic arena fighter that covers the story of the anime. Um so it's cool that Fairy Tale is getting like an action RPG, right? Like I'll give them that. Am I going to play it? Probably not. I haven't played the first Fairy Tale game. Um, and I've left my Fairy Tale enjoyer days behind me, so there's not much reason for me to play this, but it looks okay. Um, I don't know. What did you think about it?
It looked okay. I don't
Fair.
really have much to say about that one. I just
Yeah.
never recognized it before.
Yeah.
Just yeah, it looked okay.
Fair.
There's probably going to be a lot of games in this one where I was like, yeah, that looks okay. And there was just like aside from the heavy hitters that was like really announced, I was very much like
Yeah.
peak and then
Valley.
snoozing like a little
Yeah.
bit. So I mean, I know a lot of people love this direct, and I'll save my overall thoughts for later. But I mean, it was a really good direct. Don't get me wrong, but there's some weak points.
Yeah.
I'll just put it that way. So
Yeah. No, yeah. I can definitely see that. Next up is Fantasian Neo Dimension, which is a port of Fantasian that is on Apple Arcade. I've actually played a little bit of Fantasian, not enough to say good or bad, but yeah, it's cool that this is finally coming to other stuff. Because I think it's coming to everything. I don't think it's just Nintendo. So yeah, produced by Hironobu Sakaguchi, creator of Final Fantasy. Uematsu is doing the score. So like, if you're a Final Fantasy fan, this will be right up your alley.
oh yeah, I was very intrigued by it. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little fooled at first. I thought it was near, but and then like you know, and then they started to talk about the creative team, and I was like, oh, never mind.
That's not near. um, Nintendo Switch Sports got an update. Uh,
Basketball.
Mio. Oh, okay, basketball. That's fun. Mio Memories in Orbit is a video game. It looks like kind of like a story centric, stylized kind of thing. Oh, it's got like kind of Hollow Knight energy from what I'm seeing. Kind of cool. 2025. Um, They had like a montage for. It's not really a montage. It's like one of their like. We're just gonna rapid fire a few things.
Mm-hmm.
So they showed off Disney Illusion Island,
Mm-hmm.
Hello Kitty Island Adventure, Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports, and Among Us.
Oh, by the way, that whole Looney Tunes game looks awful. I'm sorry. It looks awful. Like I don't know what
Yeah,
I was expecting, but like the style, like I don't know what they were thinking with that art style.
it looks like a game that would have come out in like '05.
Exactly. It looks cheap. It looks awful. Yeah. I no.
It's kind of
That
impressive.
game made me like I was rubbing my head like in frustration. Like I yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not like a huge Looney Tunes fan, nor would I play probably a Looney Tunes game. But like at the same time, I mean, I probably play a Looney Tunes game, but I wouldn't like openly like, oh, I'm gonna go play this when this launches. But at the same time, I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting that. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, definitely doesn't look confidence inspiring. We'll say that
Mm-hmm.
much. Next up on the list is Farmagia. Sort of a taking after your rune factories, your Harvest Moon, I guess. Harvest Stella, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that? Never mind. Fun, fun little tidbit. The character designer for this game is the guy who wrote Fairy Tale. So, for what that's worth, it's funny coincidence if nothing else. Yeah, not much to say about it for me. It looks kind of like a unique kind of idea for a farming RPG, but yeah. Do you have any interesting tidbits?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Cool to
Looks
finally.
fun.
Yeah, I mean Donkey Kong games always look fun.
That's fair enough.
Like Tropical Freeze looks like an awesome 2D platformer that I would play if it weren't the kind of 2D platformer that makes me want to rip my head off.
Yeah. I get that.
Like it's edging a little bit too close to that like Jump King territory for me. So yeah. They showed off quite a bit of the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake, which, I mean, if you were going to remake any video game from that era, this is how you do it. Like, the HD 2D style just pops off. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks fun. That was a pretty cool announcement.
Yeah. Really sad that Toriyama isn't alive to see this. Because, I mean, that's not his artwork, right? Like, he has a style and that's not it. But, yeah, it's definitely looks good, if nothing else. Next up was Funko Fusion. I don't think we need to talk about that one. They showed a little bit more of Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. It's funny because Luigi's Mansion 2 and Xenoblade Chronicles don't have a lot in common, but they both have 3 releases. One on their original console, one on the 3DS, and one on the Switch.
Yeah.
That's a weird
That's a
coincidence.
It is a weird coincidence.
The first Xenoblade Chronicles, not 2 and 3. 2 and 3 were both on Switch.
Yeah.
X, I don't really count X just because it's not exactly in the trilogy. Anyways, the new Denpa Men looks like I'm gonna watch this. I'm just gonna watch some footage. Looks like a Yoshi's Island style RPG. I guess. No, not really.
I don't
really
remember that one.
Yeah. I don't know. It looks kind of goofy. Metal Slug Remaster, I guess. Metal Slug Attack Reloaded. Looks pretty chaotic in the best ways. Darkest Dungeon 2 is kind of a big deal. I would say Darkest Dungeon was kind of in that, like, that era, the, like, you know, when you had, like, your Shovel Knights and your, you know, just, like, your big indies that really, like, took off.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, like, include, like, your costume quests in that, right? Like, yeah, I don't know how else to put it. Like, I think, like, the first Darkest Dungeon really helped pave the way for the way indie games are, like, perceived nowadays. So, cool to see that it's getting a sequel. Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack got an update. Four Swords Adventures, Metroid Zero Mission, and then Turok and Perfect Dark. So, you know, that's
Perfect Dark all of a sudden coming back.
Yeah. So, you know, I would say that's pretty cool. Not like the greatest lineup. But part of the problem is that, like, Nintendo hasn't put GameCube, and so, like, a lot of the heavy hitters are kind of already on Nintendo Switch Online. Like,
right.
Aside from, like, the Pokemon lineup, I would say I would just say, like, it's kind of hard to, like, get some great picks for what they have now, but, you know, maybe someday. Next up is Phantom Brave: The Lost Hero. It is another anime game with cutesy art style. Oh, it's like a strategy game. That's fun. Looks like it's got a little bit of that, like, Disgaea kind of influence, but maybe not. Maybe I'm just not getting it. Yeah. Another 2025 game. This next one, just kind of exploded the fighting game community. The Marvel vs. Capcom collection, including, let me see if I can get the list. I'll just watch the footage. Here we go. MVC 2, Punisher. So we got X-Men Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and The Punisher. I mean, insane. Like, I don't think people who like, I think it's really hard to understand just how, like, monumental this is. Because, like, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 especially is, like, that is, like, a landmark, like, that is fighting games, right? Is Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So, like, but, like, the licensing is probably just hell, right? Like, it's probably just, like,
exactly.
the worst thing possible. So, like, the fact that Capcom was able to make this happen, or someone, I don't know who, the fact that someone was able to make this happen.
It makes you wonder, though. It makes you wonder,
Yeah.
and I mean this in the most, like, I guess maybe I'm being naive, but it makes you wonder that, like, are we going to get another MVC?
That would be awesome.
It makes you kind of wonder if they were able to pull this together. That would be so cool. It would be really cool. But maybe I'm just being wishful thinking and should be just happy with what we got. But I'm not going to lie, the first thing that happened, like, the first thing I thought when I saw this, I was like, could it actually be happening? Because it's like you said, there's so much licensing and there's a lot of red tape. Let's just put it that way. And it's really cool to see.
Yeah, it's so cool to have these games back. Like, I'm gonna get this as soon as I can, right? Like, this is like I'm probably not gonna practice any of these games, but, like, this matters. This was huge, and it came out of left field. Nobody knew about this. This was, Nintendo, like, scored with this announcement. Yeah, that was huge. I would say that was, like, I would say, like, this one announcement might actually be bigger than any single announcement at the Xbox showcase. Maybe that's overhyping it, but still.
It's up there. I won't disagree.
Yeah, it's
well, I would say it's pretty equal. That's what I would
say. I would say it's, like, on par with Doom.
Yeah.
If nothing else. Next up was Super Mario Party Jamboree. Neither of us play Mario Party games, so...
Well, actually, I do.
Oh, you do? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had my fiance and I will always play this, and I will say it's cool. They got more maps. Like,
that's cool.
My biggest gripe, because, like, sometimes it's just like there's only usually 4. To the game, so it's just like after a while you kind of get bored of going through the same map and the same mini games.
Yeah.
but there's a lot more a lot more to do, and it makes me excited. Who knows? Um, because I really like Super Mario Party All Stars. That
Okay.
was like a really good game, but yeah, who knows? I'd be on board. I'm on board.
Yeah. Um, cool. And then one of the biggest announcements of the day, uh, The Legend of
Oh, this is
Zelda
cute.
Echoes of Wisdom,
Hmm.
um, which, you know, it's got something kind of unique about it. Uh,
Hmm.
you get to play as Zelda,
Yeah.
which is huge. That's awesome. Um, she's got a wand that she like uses to make copies of items that she's found around the
Hmm.
world. Um,
It's very. You could definitely tell there was a lot of Tears of the Kingdom type
yeah,
inspiration with the way that they used, like, as far as her navigation and combat
yeah, no, for sure. I
goes.
agree. I also think I think it's cool. Like, I like seeing how Breath of the Wild continues to influence the entire Zelda franchise, not
Mm.
just like the 3D games, right? Like, because
Yeah.
something like this, where you get like, where you're like using tables to create like steps, right? Like, that's
Right.
really like goofy and
Exactly.
fun, and it's just like in a series that like in the like so many people were afraid of Zelda stagnating, and so to see like just like the level of creative energy that the Zelda team is just constantly employing, it's just really cool. Um, yeah, yeah, it's just great. This game. I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot of it, but it looks fantastic.
Hmm.
This is I didn't realize how quickly it dipped from here though. Just Dance 2025.
It did. It definitely did. I was like, oh, come on. I know we got to do this every year, but man.
Yeah. And then they showed Lego Horizon Adventures, which is pretty interesting, honestly. Like, it's
Yeah.
interesting that they showed it just because it is a Sony franchise. But yeah, I mean, Sony is definitely kind of gearing up to be a little bit less platform exclusive, which is super weird and like kind of raises a few flags for me, like,
Hmm.
what does this mean about like
Exactly.
exclusivity and all that stuff. Like, I'm super curious. I mean, we've talked about it before, but I'm super curious to see where they go from here, basically. Uh okay, Stray mentioned this earlier. Annapurna coming to the Nintendo Switch. Not too much to say about that. It's the cat game. If you like cats, Caleb, I bet your fiance would like
Yeah.
this game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, I'm not gonna lie. I was watching the trailer, and this version does it doesn't look like that very good of a port, to be honest. Um,
Yeah, it looks kind of rough.
it does look a little rough. I'm like, oh, I mean, if you're gonna play Stray, do it on um, I would say do it on the PS5, but
Yeah,
it's not like if you're looking for something that's more like just a fun cat game, like you said, Switch isn't a bad console to play this game on.
yeah,
It's just more of like I would prefer to play it on console type of thing.
Yeah.
just because of
One.
the quality.
Yeah. I think too, like, knowing that Nintendo has another console on the horizon
Mhm.
makes it really hard for me to justify buying a Switch in the current year, right? Like,
Yeah,
unless you're doing it like if you're buying one of those new Zelda ones, like by all means. If you're buying like if you're buying like a used one, by all means, like that's a great library. You can't go wrong. But it's just like for me, it's like I would rather, if I'm thinking about it, it's like I would rather hope that the console is going to have backwards compatibility than just like that than like yeah, just kind of buy into something that feels like it's got kind of a shelf life. Yeah. Moving on to this game looks kind of bad. Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game. Um,
yeah, family. I mean, it's just a farming sim
yeah, it's just
again.
a Hobbit farming sim. Yeah. Like, yeah, it's not like, and it looks kind of bad. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. That's rough. Lord of the Rings just can't catch a break in the gaming space.
yeah. It looks really cheaply
Yeah.
done.
Oh, but it's got Gandalf, so like,
Yeah, it did. It did have Gandalf. So, but yeah, it doesn't
yeah,
look good.
no, it doesn't. Um, okay, I would say these last four are
Hmm.
pretty good. I would say they ended on a pretty good note. So we got the Ace Attorney Investigations Collection, which I believe at least one of the games in this collection was Japan only for a really long time.
Yeah.
So cool to see that. Um, the 100 Line Last Defense Academy, uh, creators of Danganronpa, making looks to be like kind of an action game of
Yeah.
sorts. Maybe I mean Danganronpa visual novel, right? Like you're oh no, it's like a strategy RPG. Okay. Um but yeah, you know, it could be good. Like I don't neither of us are Danganronpa fans, so like not much I can say about it, right?
Hmm.
Um but yeah, we'll see. We'll see if it turns out well. And then Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven, which is a turn based RPG, I believe from Square Enix. Um,
Can't remember.
a
I'm gonna say
saga
yes.
spanning generations. Okay, they didn't show the. Yeah, it is Square Enix. So yeah, I mean, it looks like a Square Enix turn based RPG. There's not much else to say about it. And then, Caleb,
Hmm.
we finally got it. Metroid
Finally.
Prime 4 Beyond. Um, so this is kind of hard for me because I'm not a Metroid fan.
I'm
um,
I'm a Metroid fan from the outside looking in. I've
oh, okay.
I've never genuinely like played the games. Um, I've played like actually, you know what? I think I've played like I think I've played one of them on the GameCube, but I've never genuinely like actually sat down to play this game. But I love I love the game. It looks so fun. Like it looks so fun. Like Metroid has always been a game that I've always been intrigued by.
Yeah.
I was curious when I was hoping we would get something from Metroid Prime 4. I mean, when they announced the DLC, not the DLC, the direct, um, you know, and talked about how like there's going to be no Switch 2 announcement, no hardware. Um, a few months ago, I was very much like, well, I mean, as far as big titles go for the Switch life, I feel like we've gotten everything but as far as stuff that's been announced, but Metroid Prime 4. Um, like I feel like this was the last. I'm like, I bet this would be popping up.
Yeah.
If it didn't pop up now, I would say this game was probably dead in the water. like,
Yeah. I think a lot of
but
people
at
would
the
have been
same,
saying the same thing.
but at the same time, though, I think what really helped it was last year when they remastered
The
the
original
the uh,
Metroid
the
Prime.
original. Yeah, and that was huge. I don't. I
Yeah.
well, I just don't. I don't just think it. I know it. Nintendo did not prep as far as how big that remaster was going to be. That
Yeah.
thing, people were hunting that down.
Yeah.
I remember being like, so this is. I used to. I don't know if I said this on the podcast before yet, but I used to work at GameStop, and I remember we only got like 3 copies or whatever. And I remember being like,
What?
someone, yeah, someone didn't pick up their pre-order, and I was like, I want it, but I can't afford it right now, and that
Mm,
sucked
that does
because
suck.
I knew that was gonna go, and it went like within an hour, it was gone.
Darn.
But yeah, we got like 3 or 4. We end up getting like another shipment that was like 10, but again, it was gone. They
Yeah.
never lasted a day. Those copies.
Okay.
So yeah, little fun history for you. I mean, we're talking about a
Yeah.
local GameStop, so it's not like it's everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
But still, right,
yeah,
like
great.
I think it's easy to underestimate Metroid just because we haven't gotten a new game for a really long time,
Mhm.
or at least not a new 3D game.
Yeah.
Uh, but like, remember, Metroid Dread popped off.
Oh yeah, it was huge.
Um,
Um, I almost played it then. I was this close,
yeah,
but I didn't end up playing it. Yeah, this is one of those series that got away from me. I think
sure, yeah,
one of these days I'll play them,
yeah. I'm sure you
and
would be
probably
into it.
maybe Metroid Prime 4 might be the the, the first the first game I get into. Who
Hey,
knows?
yeah, I'd be super interested to hear if like you were able to get into it and like understand what's happening and stuff. Like that would be cool.
Right. It'd be cool. Or if I could get my hands on the remastered, I guess I could probably get it online.
Yeah,
Like it wouldn't be physical, but digital works just as well. Maybe I'll play that and then like brush up on 2 and 3 and get myself ready for 4 when it comes
okay,
out.
yeah,
Was there a release date? I can't remember.
2025. We don't know the
Yeah,
actual
that's right. It
release
was
date.
just 2025.
It will
I
probably
was like,
be day and date with the Switch 2, if I had to be
yeah,
honest.
maybe, probably. Who knows?
Who knows? So that's the Nintendo Direct. Um, I give this one like a B plus.
Yeah, that's my rating on it. Like it's
Uh,
good. It's got heavy hitters,
yeah,
but it would dip at times.
the lows are kind of rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think like, yeah, I think like you kind of lose a letter grade just by having Just Dance in your show. Like,
You're not wrong.
not gonna lie, like that's just kind of rough.
It is.
But yeah, yeah, but it was still good. Finally getting to see Metroid Prime 4 again. New Zelda game. Uh, Mario and Luigi Brothership. Marvel vs. Capcom. Like those are some pretty heavy hitters. So like, don't don't misunderstand. I think like the main difference that Xbox's show had was that there weren't really valleys, right? There weren't those like
Hmm.
dips
Exactly.
in the Xbox show. While everything there wasn't necessarily like, a massive thing.
Hmm.
Like in fact, I would say Nintendo's highs were higher than Microsoft's.
Yeah.
Microsoft was more consistent throughout the show. Um,
Exactly.
so yeah, that's like, you know, we're being picky and choosy about things that are ultimately meant to like market to us and sell us things, but like
Hmm.
still, like I think like Nintendo definitely brought it. Um, but I think like, yeah, I just think Microsoft was more consistent throughout. So
Yeah. I mean that echoes a lot of my thoughts. Like both really great showcases and puts PlayStation to shame. um, and Summer Games Fest. More so Summer Games Fest than I think PlayStation.
uh
I
huh.
mean, the at least with PlayStation, they categorized it as a state of play and
Yeah.
not an actual showcase. So I give them a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt. But like, and it's not to say Summer Games Fest wasn't bad, especially saying Jeff did curb our expectations. But like, I will say this again, and I won't go too much into it. When you're trying to market this as the next E3, the new version of what E3 it was supposed to be, it didn't look good. Didn't look good. That's all I'll say. So I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
it,
if nothing else, Xbox and Nintendo seem to have
yeah,
the brains, I guess. They're like they've still got it going on. So like, it's just like I think it is definitely like a weird moment in time, especially for
hmm
PlayStation. Just like they've released God of War Ragnarok, they've released Spider-Man 2. They
hmm
don't have any sequels left in the pipeline that are going to be out anytime soon. So like,
no,
what's going to happen? We don't really
right,
know.
exactly, and just as they've been vocal, like just as Nintendo's been vocal about like the fact that there's not going to be you know new hardware being talked about in the direct. PlayStation has gone out and said for like months now that like, hey, we don't got anything this year.
Yeah.
Curb your expectation. Pretty much. But
Yeah.
I will say it's like now we've gotten to the point in which this is like the peak of the year when it comes to gaming showcases and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, there's other big showcases and stuff, but this is usually the point in which in the year where it makes the most sense and is usually the biggest. Um, I was going to ask, since this is like to kind of put a little bit of a bow in this,
Yeah.
like we got Gamescom coming up in August. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think we get anything as far as third party showcases? Honestly, it used to be a big thing, but
Yeah, I was for like a
I've
couple years
really
there.
I've really seen it die down in the past 3 years. I mean, we
Yeah.
had Ubisoft already. Do you think we're going to get any other showcases until August? Thinking as an
So,
objective.
uh, so Bandai Namco is gonna
Uh
have
huh.
one at Anime Expo, which is
Gotcha.
in
Gotcha.
early July. I wish I could go. Um, and a whole bunch of like other anime adjacent game stuff is going to be there. Sonic X Shadow Generations is going to be there. Um,
Hmm.
so like, yeah, well, you know, it would not like surprise me if we got some reveals of some kind at Anime Expo. It'd be hopefully we see some movement from the Tales series, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. Um,
Hmm.
After that, I guess there's they have a THQ Nordic digital showcase in August before opening night live,
Hmm.
but yeah, aside from that, yeah, it's mostly just like smaller things, I guess.
Yeah.
Like Bandai Namco is kind of the only big publisher um, that's
Yeah.
doing something, and they're doing it at a at an anime expo, which is like anime expo is
Mhm.
huge, so like don't discount it too much, but like it's
Right.
still like they're not like setting aside like
Right.
Saturday, right? Like it's not that's not what this is. I don't even know if they're gonna live stream it actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think you're right. I can't think of any third parties that like haven't already done something that are going to do something.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. I think it's hard cuz E3 was always a little volatile in terms of like um what does it look like? Is it going to be good? Is it going to, you know, are companies going to come out and show cool stuff, or is it just going to be kind of lots of talking and no games? Like that was definitely the case with E3, but with E3 at least there was definitely like the weekend, right? Like that Friday to like Tuesday, I guess. Um, that was like video games overload. You're getting news from all the different companies,
Hmm.
um, and then like, oh yeah, and then they've got stuff to, you've got the journalists have stuff to play, and they're showing you all the cool footage, and um, yeah, like I think it's definitely changed for sure. Um, Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
It's yeah, the whole. I mean, it's changed in both good and bad reasons, right?
Yeah.
Like we're not showcasing stuff that's years ahead of time anymore, but um, but the it's weird. That's all I gotta say. It's just all weird that how much things have changed in the past 4 years when it comes to showcases. You
Yeah.
know, it's like I don't really know what to expect anymore, and I guess that's a good thing. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's not to say that this new norm isn't bad. It's just it's a different norm.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and it's definitely like still kind of growing into what it will eventually become, right? Like it's not always going to look like this kind of haphazard thing. Eventually it will kind of standardize. So, yeah. Well, do you have anything else you want to say about the Nintendo Direct, the Xbox Showcase, any of like our news stuff before we get into the games we've been playing?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. Well, in that case, it's time for my final guess
Hmm.
as to what game you played. And I'm trying to. I'm kind of going back and forth between two games, but I think. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this. Uh, I think if you didn't play Elden Ring, if you didn't play Sonic Frontiers, then I think you played Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. One of those two. Um,
Gotcha.
I won't. I'm not guessing Pokemon Scarlet and then you played Violet. I'm just gonna say both of them, and whichever one you played, you played. Um,
Oh, that'd be funny.
um,
It's gonna be like, you guessed the wrong one. I did Scarlet.
yeah, that would be incredibly annoying. So I'm not gonna not we're not gonna do that. Um, yeah, okay. So I'm super interested to hear what you played. But first, we all know what I played for our book club,
Hmm.
and that is God of War 2018. Um, so, what to say? So I guess I should say up front that I ended up playing through this game on story mode.
That's fair.
Because I was not really clicking with the combat,
Hmm.
and it was kind of kicking my butt. So I was like, I would rather not hate this game. So I'm going to switch to story mode so I don't end up hating this game. Um, so yeah, insofar as that's the case, right? Like I wasn't really digging the combat. It never really clicked for me. I never felt like I was getting into like a great flow with it.
Hmm.
Um, there were definitely like some cool moments, like like I know nothing about God of War, and even I was able to be like, when he got the chains, I was like, that's really
Hmm.
cool. And then just being able to use them and stuff like that was super cool. Um, so like yeah, it was like there's definitely like some cool gameplay moments. I I feel like this is more of like a story thing, but I really liked like that, you know, whenever you got in the boat, sometimes you would just get like interrupted by a random story beat and then you would just move on. Like I really liked that. Um
Yeah.
yeah, I and then I did kind of beeline the game. I didn't really like do side
Uh,
quests or anything.
with that one, I did the same thing you did. I just kind
Okay.
of I just went through it.
Sure, yeah.
Like, I mean, there's definitely side content, but I don't know. I felt like the pacing did better when you just beeline it. But
Okay. Interesting.
I have the opposite opinion in Ragnarok, but in for 2018, that was kind of, you know, but I had the same progression with that. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. Yeah, so like it's kind of hard for me to say other anything else other than the story, I guess.
Mm.
Cuz it's like yeah, it's like I I wasn't like analyzing the combat and I wasn't like uh and like the rest of the gameplay is just like running around. So and like a little bit they had like a little bit of like kind of tower defense stuff with the ship um
Mhm.
and you know some of the like uncharted-esque climbing stuff, but I've always viewed
Yeah.
that as like an extension of the running around. Like there's not really like
Mm.
stakes to it, um which isn't a bad thing necessarily. I really like I enjoy it in like Jedi Fallen Order, right? Like so it's not like a criticism. It's just like I don't really count it as gameplay, I guess. So yeah, I guess like the main thing I will say is that while I enjoyed the story and I thought it had a lot of really interesting ideas,
Mhm.
it felt like it took itself a little too seriously at times.
Mhm.
Um, and I think I definitely would have enjoyed it more if I had played the previous games. Um, Not to
That's
say
fair.
I didn't understand it, but like there was a whole bunch of stuff that felt like it really colored Kratos' character that like if I really had a deep understanding of what happened in those
Mhm.
prior games, right? Like maybe it wouldn't have changed my opinion about God of War 2018, but I think it definitely would have like heightened it if nothing else.
Yeah.
Like it would have like I would have been like able to appreciate some of those moments cuz like
Right.
that moment when he's putting the chains on his arms and Athena is talking to him is like that's such a cool like I know that's such a cool moment,
Mhm.
but I don't have that history, so I have no way of like fully grasping that, right? Um
And that's entirely fair. Like, I don't disagree. It was a concern as far as like having you play this one.
yeah.
But I mean, aside from y- the thing was either like having you start there or start from the beginning, and
Yeah.
I feel like you would probably not be so big on the earlier ones.
I know I would not be so big on the earlier ones. No, absolutely. Like, I definitely like. I definitely think that like if I were going to play God of War, it would be any of the games from 2018 on, but not. I would not like go back just because like I know how like kind of egregious those games are.
Yeah.
So like, no, I don't like. I don't really hold it against God of War 2018. I just think like there were a few moments that I was like, man, I do kind of wish I had the full context.
Right.
Um, just because like having Zeus show up in that one section on the ship is like that's really cool. Like that's cool that we know that Kratos killed Zeus. Like that's cool. Also, I don't have that backstory, so it's hard for me to
Right.
like. It's hard for me to like really like take that in and appreciate it. Um, Now, all of that said, I mean, Christopher Judge kills it as Kratos.
Absolutely.
I mean, like there are few. I mean, this is a game from 2018. Not many games today have that level of performance
Mm-hmm.
in their characters, right? Like, I would say that like even even the Spider-Man games, right? Like even the Spider-Man
Yeah.
games don't have that like the like that quality. I don't know how to phrase it. Like I would say like the only games that kind of like get there are like God of War and the FF7 games, right? Like um
Well, it's like he knows how to move within motion capture.
yeah.
Like, and that's huge. Like, I think of Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
He's like the pioneer as far as motion capture goes, and I get the same as far as Christopher Judge goes. I get the same level of care and attention um, that he brings to his performance in that. And you know, I mean, yeah, is it all animated? But like, you can tell the motion capture, every single like from mind to actual physical performance,
Yeah.
everything is locked in, and everything has like its own unique pull, I guess would be the way to
Yeah.
say it. Like he's just he's gravitating to watch. Like he does an amazing job.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. Um and I mean truthfully, there isn't a bad performance
No.
in that game. Like not a single one. Balder's great. Um,
Hmm.
Atreus is great. Um, what's his name? The head.
Oh, Mimir.
Mimir. Mimir's great. Um, everybody's great. Like not a bad performance to be seen. Um, yeah, I think the game starts out really cool with you sort of get that like intro sequence with Atreus and just kind of learning the ropes, and then you get the fight with Balder, and then you're like, we gotta get the heck out of here. Um, I will say what's the like? It did feel a little bit like I was chasing MacGuffins a lot of the time,
Yeah.
which isn't always a bad thing, but it definitely did feel a little padded at times in a way I wasn't expecting it to. Um, I also wasn't expecting the puzzles. I wasn't expecting
Oh, the
those.
puzzles. Yeah.
Um, they weren't bad. It was just like sometimes they got kind of like confusing. I was like, what am I
Yeah.
doing? But yeah, I thought like I think it's a really good game. Um, I think like what's holding it back for me and kind of the reason I don't really see myself playing Ragnarok for a long time is is like the combat loop.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, just like the camera angle and the like the way enemies move, and it just didn't, yeah, it just really didn't click for me. And so I'm like, it's kind of hard for me to like uh care super deeply, I guess. But like, I mean, it's really kind of a tale of two games for me, because it's like, every time control would be taken away from me, I would be treated with like some of the best content in a video game,
Hmm.
full stop, right? Like, because some of that stuff is just
Yeah.
like chef's kiss, no complaints.
Hmm.
And then I would get control of the video game, and I would be like, I'm not really. I feel like kind of I'm doing this more out of obligation than I am out of fun, right? Like, um,
Yeah. I get you.
so like I don't know. It's like I definitely see why so many people love this game and why it won Game of the Year. Um, I just think like for me, again, it took itself a little too seriously. Like there were a little like I will say one like actual criticism I do have of the story is there were a few
Hmm.
too many sequences of like Kratos staring out at the distance and the music swelling. Like they had a few too many of those. Uh, or just Kratos like looking at nothing and the music swelling. Like there were lots of those, and it was just like, man, okay, like I get it, but still. Um, but yeah, I thought like I did think the credit sequence was really cool. Um,
Yeah.
uh, and I thought I I'll say this: the Balder fight at the end.
Hmm.
I know I'm kind of jumping around. I'm sorry. Uh,
That's fine.
the Balder fight at the end was good. And what's her name? Uh, the goddess
Uh, Freya.
Freya. I kind of liked what they were going for with all of
Hmm.
that. It did feel a little bit like um it's hard for me to describe it. Do you mind if I spoil Devil May Cry 5 for you?
Sure.
Okay. Um so like at the end of Devil May Cry 5, Dante and Virgil fight, and they're like they're atop this demon tree, and it's all epic and all that stuff. I felt like what was kind of missing from the Balder fight was that um was that sense of like location almost. Uh like like we're fighting an important battle in a really important place. Like it felt a little bit like we're just kind of fighting this battle in this place that we've been 100 times. Like it didn't feel that special, I guess. Like I like throughout the final fight with Balder, I was like, "Oh, is this the end, or are we? Is this like a? Are we like doing this, and then the final boss is gonna be someone else?" Like I was like, "Oh, I don't know what's gonna happen." Um, but it ended up being like the last thing I had to do in the game. Um,
Yeah.
and so like I definitely get like, Ragnarok is like the second in a duology, so like
Hmm.
a more climactic final battle will
Hmm.
probably occur in that game. So I don't like hold it against God of War 2018, but kind of taking it on its own, it's kind of like it
Yeah.
felt a little anticlimactic. And I'm willing to admit that like, you know, God of War is leaning into a bunch of like stylistic stuff that is just like not my bag, right? Um like, you know, for your final duels, I'm looking for like the Other Promise and the Station of Awakening.
Hmm.
Like I'm looking for stuff like that. So like not having stuff like that makes it hard for me to really appreciate something something like the final Baldur fight. Um,
That's the thing. It's like I want to like. Part of me is like I'm as you're talking about all this, I'm like I'm remembering. Yeah, this is a lot of the same thoughts I had. Um,
yeah,
and I don't want to like compare because I don't think it's too much of a. I don't think it's a fair comparison to be like comparing it to like how Ragnarok was all the time. But
yeah,
I will say it is much more grand in scale in
okay,
Ragnarok,
yeah,
and and as far as some of the stuff that you're saying is paid off.
yeah,
I'll just put it that way. And so it's hard for me to be like, and on one hand, it's like, I mean, the best comparison to me for God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok is, for me, it's like Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2.
yeah. I thought you were gonna say that.
It's
Yeah,
that's the thing, it that is so part of me is like, yeah, 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 yeah. A lot of what you're saying, I
yeah,
agree with. And it is interesting because when I chose this one, I was very much like, you know, I did choose it for those reasons of like,
sure, yeah,
I think this would be a fun one to do. I don't think it's too taxing of a game.
no,
I,
definitely
I
not.
hope you don't mind me asking how long did it take you to beat it?
I think it took me about 15 hours, so really not
That's
long.
about that's about how much it took for me. I think it was between 12 to 14, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
So I mean, like you said, I think you very much had the same type of experience I had. Only difference is I knew the knowledge of the previous games.
yeah,
um, so I mean that that would be the
yeah,
difference. But it is really cool to see um to hear your thoughts on it and everything.
yeah. No, yeah, I appreciate you kind of like in a way forcing me to play it because like I had started it, but I
Yeah.
was like I don't really know. Like I know it's really good, but I just don't know if I'm into it. So like it was good to like play it and really
Hmm.
like know like yeah, there is such a thing as like excellence that's not for me.
Yeah.
Because like I can tell you, I can like 100% like if you haven't played God of War 2018, you should go play God of War 2018. Like I think it's that
Hmm.
good. Um, but I know that like for me, it's missing a few of those like key ingredients,
Right.
I guess. So yeah, maybe some point I'll play Ragnarok. Not gonna guarantee it anytime soon, but mostly just because I'm busy right now.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, yeah, it was a good experience, if nothing else. And again, I'll say like that moment where he puts on the chains again, like that was cool. That was probably the high point for me. I was like, this is awesome. Yeah, so I think we can move on, unless you had any other like questions or anything to ask me about God of War.
No, I think that I covered it all.
Okay.
I yeah. Um so yeah, I guess I'll go into the mystery game that I played.
Okay. First question.
Yes.
Were any of my guesses correct?
Yes.
Nice. All right. What was it?
It was Sonic Frontiers.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Yep. Yep. I did I
You took the plunge.
coming off coming off of the Sonic concert that we went to a few weeks
Mmm.
ago, it was very clear to me that I was going to be playing this game. Um um and I've had it, like, I literally had it for
Yeah.
uh, a few years, but there was just so many games coming out that it just kept you know being pushed aside for the time being. And I was like, yeah, I'm finally at the stage of where I'm going to be diving into my backlog. So I was very much like, this is one of those games that I need to get in. Like, I need to play. I know it's not going to be too much of a commitment. Um,
Yeah.
and well, I say that, but I played the crap out of this game. I'm not going to lie.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, I know the general average playthrough was probably the same amount as God of War 2018,
Yeah.
but yeah, 30 hours later,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
I've almost platinumed it. We'll
Okay.
just put it that way.
Yeah.
I have 2 trophies to go, and it's the leveling. That's all it
Ah.
is.
Yeah.
So I'm
That's
just
kind of a
grinding.
pain.
That's all it is. Like, I have done. Now, granted, I will say I haven't done any of the DLC portion. Right, I
Oh,
stopped after
okay.
the base game.
Oh, okay.
Because
Okay.
I figured I would save the DLC portion for a separate time. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Um, so, which gave me freedom to try to actually platinum the game. Uh,
Yeah.
and it was. I will say it is like everything I wanted and more. I
Okay.
gotta I gotta say, like,
Huh.
I was so intrigued by an open world Sonic game, and I wasn't sure if it was going to deliver on that, and I had a blast. It was just, yeah, I mean, like the just the gameplay was so fun. Like I mean, the gameplay was just. I don't really have any complaints about the gameplay at all. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I thought the fights were fun. Like all of it was really. I think my only like gripes come from like the story itself.
Yeah.
Like I think the story is pretty. I think the story is much less ambitious than what the actual game is.
I hard
I
agree
don't
with
know.
that.
I don't know if that is like a fair comparison, but that's what I felt. Um, and but as a game itself, I mean it.
Yeah.
It was really well done. Um, I'm not sure how much more I can expand on it, but
Sure, yeah.
I just had I had a blast.
That's great. That's great to hear. Um I have a few
I guess now I'm more curious. Oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
I have a
I was
few
just gonna say.
questions for you. Um
Okay, all right,
I have a few
perfect.
like I have a few like stuff that will get you crucified by the Sonic fandom questions for you.
Oh no,
Um,
oh no!
what did you think
Putting me on the hot
of
seat.
what did you think of the cyberspace stages?
Um, cyberspace stages, really cool incorporation of like the classic Sonic, um, classic Sonic games. Um, I feel like there was uh, weird moments with speed with like a few stages, not like all stages,
Okay.
but like with a few of the stages where I was like, unless I'm like really like holding down boost, I don't feel like I'm moving at all. Um, but other than that, I mean, that's such a small like complaint, for me. Like I enjoyed it. I thought they were good. I thought they were challenging. Um, the only thing that I would have changed is that I think it could have been more beneficial to have different challenges in each stage. Like I know that
Oh, okay, yeah.
you know what I'm saying. Like all of them were generally the
Yeah.
same. Get it within a certain timeline. Get it within. Get certain rings. And,
Yeah,
get
yeah, yeah.
this certain amount of rings and this the red stars. Like that stuff's cool and everything. But like, what about like go the whole course without taking damage or like stuff like that? You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
I think that would have been like something that I would have changed. But
Sure. I bet you'll I will say you will enjoy some of the stuff the DLC has to offer cuz they do a few things with the cyberspace stages in
okay.
the DLC. Yeah. I actually uh I really like I don't think there's a single there are a few cyberspace stages in the base game that I just flat don't like. There's
Yeah.
not a single cyberspace stage in the DLC that I don't like. All of them are great. Um,
Oh, that's good to hear.
um, they're all hard. They're all like genuinely
Yeah.
difficult, but they're all really. I really really liked them. Okay, next question. Um, do you have any like problems with like glitches or anything? Any like physics issues, stuff like that?
No. No.
No.
No. I mean,
Impressive.
yeah, I had no issues. I don't think I did. If if I did, it was a very minor one that I really like. I like excused. I didn't have any major glitches.
Okay. And then, hmm,
Contrary to Jedi Survivor.
Jedi Survivor. Yeah,
So you know I would I'd be able to notice if I did. Let's
yeah.
just put it that
No,
way.
that's true. Yeah. No, yeah. I definitely. It's funny because like it feels like we had kind of opposite experiences with both of these games. I played Sonic Frontiers. I still enjoyed it, but I still really loved it. But I was like, man, this game is kind of stitched together. Uh,
Hmm.
and then I played Jedi Survivor, and I was like, oh yeah, it seems like it's in a decent place technically. Like it's not like the best, but
Exactly.
it's not the worst. But then like to hear like you played Jedi Survivor and it was like one of the worst technical experiences you've ever had, and then uh, Sonic
It
Frontiers is
genuinely
like
was.
fine,
It
like
it absolutely was for like this generation. Like
yeah,
to me, this was like Jedi Survivor was not. That was a frustrating time for me.
yeah.
I was not. I was not happy about it. But I, like I said, Sonic is like I. It's so funny because like part of me is like I spent so much time and I'm like, oh, I like this, you know. Um, but at the same time, it's like I love the simplicity of it to it, and you know, it's hard to say what additional things. I guess. Do you have any more questions?
What do you think of the supersonic fights?
I thought they were good. I mean, at first they were interesting to like get a grasp on. Um,
Sure, yeah.
yeah, I mean, so aside from the first fight, I would say the rest of them were a lot more solid as far as like I think I had a frustration with the first fight because it was like, okay, this isn't like how I've been playing. I don't know how to really work this boss fight, you know what I mean? And then I kind of I got it down after that. And once I got it down, it was very much a smooth ride throughout throughout it. And I enjoyed it. I'd
Yeah.
say the one weird thing was being kind of thrown into the final fight because I was like, you know, I was doing exploring and I was like, you know what, I'll just get the six. I'll get the 6 Chaos Emerald just to, you know what I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just for my progression. And the next thing you know,
You're on your way.
next thing you know, yeah, you just literally get thrown into it. And I'm like, whoa, okay, all right, I guess we're beating the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that was, I guess that's my only like major complaint was that, I mean it's not a major complaint, but like my only like actual complaint about the boss fights was just that one moment of just getting kind of thrown into it. But that's also nice to have too at the same time, keeps you on
Yeah.
your toes. But
Sure, yeah.
I guess I wouldn't have been so caught off guard if it happened at least one other time in the uh in the
Yeah,
game
sure.
itself. But yeah,
Yeah,
it
that
was
makes
good.
sense.
You know, it's interesting because like I am curious where they're going to go with the DLC. Um, to that to that said though, I think you even said it. It's like it's basically Remind. Like not
It's
necessarily story narratively wise, but like as far as the DLC wise, it's like that. So I'm looking forward to that.
it's
Um,
yeah,
whatever that may be.
it's yeah, I mean, I would say it's Remind without the stuff that happens after Remind, if that makes any sense.
Right. I know what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, like yeah.
No limit fights or secret fights. I get you.
But yeah. Well, cool. I'm glad you really liked it.
Yeah.
Like opinions are pretty, I would say, mixed on Frontiers. Like they're not like, I wouldn't say they're bad. It's just like it's not like this is the greatest Sonic game ever. So like yeah, it's good to hear like, oh, you had a really good time with it. Does this game make you want to go back and play previous Sonic games?
It does. I mean, it does, and you know, where to start is kind of the the
Yeah.
the big question. But like, it does make me want to kind of go back to do to actually genuinely go through it all, because you know my history with Sonic. It's like
Yeah.
like I don't think I think I can tell you this right now. This is the first Sonic game I've beaten.
Huh. Yeah.
And that goes for Shadow too, because I played the crap out of Shadow, but I never beat it. It was a little too difficult for me. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, like I said, I've gotten pretty far in Sonic games, but I don't think I've actually completed them. This one I have, so it does make me want to go back.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe
More
I
to come,
mean,
I guess.
I'd say, if you're not busy with Assassin's Creed,
Oh, the Sonic generation.
yeah, Sonic X Shadow Generations, like
Uh-huh.
I don't know, I've seen some footage of the Shadow part of that, and it looks good, but there's no way of telling if it's actually going to be good. Sonic Generations, for my money, is the best Sonic game to come out since Adventure 2. At least in terms of gameplay. So, like, if nothing else, it's not the same as Frontiers. Like, it's not the same kind of game. But if you're looking for, like, a really solid Sonic game, Generations, like, it's really hard to mess up with Generations.
Okay.
Like, it's maybe the best collection of levels a Sonic game has ever seen. So yeah, like if like that would be my recommendation. It's unfortunately it's kind of like a really high to start on.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was afraid of with Frontiers too. Like
Sure, yeah.
I don't want to go back to it, and start off at low point and be like, completely turned off at the same time. That was my biggest fear with Frontiers, like just playing it, that. But I know, like objectively, I know that they're all different, and that I shouldn't be basing my opinion of Frontiers to the other ones as I'm going through it.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah. I would be interested to talk to the version of you that is like a lifelong diehard Sonic fan, because I feel like Sonic fans are, me included, Sonic fans are so jaded that it's like hard to take something that's good as just good. Like we're always looking for the flaws.
Mm.
So yeah, but yeah, I'm really glad you enjoyed it because I've always been like, man, I do think you would like Sonic Frontiers, but also I'm like, man, this game's kind of janky. So I wasn't like sure if you would be super into it. Yeah, kind of wild that we ended up being more positive on Sonic Frontiers than God of War. Uh,
Yeah.
that's that's kind of strange to me. Uh, yeah. Well, I think that brings us to the end of our show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It was a fun one.
it was a fun one. I don't have a book club for you today, but
That's okay.
I will cook one up. Um,
Okay. Oh,
you have PS Plus Extra?
I have I have the whole package.
Oh, you have premium.
So,
Okay, okay,
yep.
that's good to know.
I was like, I don't know which one it was, like what the proper title is, but
Yeah.
yeah, I
The
have the
most
big one.
expensive one. Yeah.
Yeah.
um. Okay. Yeah. I'll be perusing the libraries. And yeah, I will have some. We'll call them not so mystery games to talk about next time. Because like if you know me, you know I'm playing them.
Next time I will probably have the DLC for Sonic done. I don't
Okay.
know if I'll move on to another game yet. But I think I mostly still haven't really decided what I'm moving on to next.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
I have a couple of ideas. Um, but I think I'm going to be more or less right now targeting games that are, aside from like, the book club and,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be targeting games that are more brief, not in the not in a bad way, but more of like,
Yeah.
okay,
Like
now's my time to,
your 20 hours.
yeah,
Yeah.
20-hour games. I've done quite a few large games of late that it's
Yeah.
time for me to. And honestly, I didn't really expect that with Sonic either. It was just more of like, I just found myself just having fun with it, and
Yeah. You got hooked.
I got hooked. So who knows? Maybe I'm just a completionist now. I don't know.
Yeah. I am genuinely fearful for when you decide to go for the 7 Rebirth Platinum. Like I
Yeah,
I know you're gonna do it at some point. Like you're gonna go on a break, or like there's gonna be a real
exactly.
gap, or something like that. Like you're gonna find yourself with a lot of time on your hands, and that's what you're gonna spend it on. And
Exactly.
and I'm like, man, that's gonna be rough. Like
Well,
that's
the other
gonna be
part
a
of me
lot of
is
time.
I still haven't beaten remake. Like
Platinum remake.
platinum remake,
Yeah.
and it just takes so many playthroughs, and I've done a lot, but sometimes it's like, oh, I really want to just do a playthrough and enjoy the story and do the choices I want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm only making it worse for myself, but I don't know, I'm close. I have to do a hard mode playthrough of remake, which is going to be hard to do it now that Rebirth came out and, improved on it on the combat and everything. So, well, who knows? Who knows where that lies? But yeah,
Yeah. Um. Okay. Well, did you have anything else you wanted to say before we sign off?
no, just had a great time.
Yeah,
A
it's
lot,
great.
a lot. We had a lot to unpack there. So
Definitely. Well, with that, I'm sorry. I liked that.